this is the intro, cause I don't know how to make one yet. Seriously, that's going to be my intro. Are you somebody who likes to question things? I know I am. I question a good portion of information that comes my way. I question things in the media, I question things I'm told by my friends and family, I question the notion of religion, and sometimes I even question science itself. It's good to be a skeptic. It's good to not just always take everything at face value and assume what you're being told is true. Especially with the way things currently are, with fake news and fake news. You can't just believe everything you hear. However, there also comes a point where you have to admit that you've taken your doubt too far. Our topic today is skepticism. Now, let's be frank. Skepticism is good, but it can be poisonous. I'm sure by now you've heard of flat earthers. These are people who believe that the Earth isn't actually a three-dimensional sphere orbiting a giant flaming ball of gases, but rather that the Earth is, for the most part, just like a two-dimensional plane or disk. I've actually thought about doing a whole entire video dedicated to these people and the idea of a flat Earth, but honestly it's just not even worth it. It would just be me laughing at everything that they believe in for like 5 to 10 minutes. Not really productive. It would be fun, I would enjoy it, but just not very useful. The point is, flat earthers exist. Now some might argue that flat earthers are just plain stupid, and I'll give it to you, there's a lot of grounds for that argument. However, I believe that there's something else entirely at play here. I would like to argue that perhaps these people are just skeptics who took it way too far. These are people who haven't actually seen the curvature of the Earth for themselves, and so they don't believe that the Earth has a curve. They're skeptical to the science and to the beliefs of everyone around them. And like I said, it is a-okay to be a skeptic. But in this instance, and many others, the science is already settled. As a quick aside, the Earth is definitely not flat. Even ancient civilizations knew that the Earth wasn't flat. The next time you're looking up at the moon and it isn't full and it isn't new, if you look just a little bit closer, you'll notice that the part that you can't see, you actually can see. It's just being dimmed by some kind of curved shadow. That's caused by the sun producing light, which the spherical Earth is blocking from traveling the rest of the way to the moon. The fact is, there's no reason to be skeptical about this, and yet for some reason people still are. I think the issue with skepticism actually comes down to a trust, or rather a mistrust issue with science. To me, the only rational explanation is that somebody saw contradicting studies at one point and was just like, well, this whole entire science thing is all malarkey, I don't believe anything that they say. Does science contradict itself sometimes? Yes, it does. A discovery one year can be debunked by a discovery in the next. However, as time goes on, certain things become more and more set in stone. For instance, the Earth is not flat. Evolution is how humans and every other species on this planet came into existence. Vaccines don't cause autism. Facebook isn't recording your day-to-day conversations, and climate change is something that is happening, it is real, and human beings are causing it to happen at an alarming rate. We don't need to be skeptical about these things anymore because we know beyond a shadow of a doubt that these things are true. Shadow. Flat Earth. Yeah, I'm not letting that go. The only reason I can think of that makes these truths hard to accept is that these people have been so skeptical of the science for so long that they believe whatever they think to be true as opposed to whatever actually is true. Then cognitive dissonance and the backfire effect kick in, and you have about as much a chance of changing their mind as you do falling off the edge of the Earth. But really, do you see the vicious cycle here? Somebody questions an idea. They root themselves into the belief that that idea is wrong. Then more evidence comes out that proves that the idea is actually true, and it just makes them think it is even more wrong, and then so on and so forth and so on and so forth. Winston Churchill once said, "Never give in. Never give in, never, 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 never in nothing. Great or small, large or petty. Never give in except to convictions of honor and good sense." That last part is the most important part. Hold strong to what you believe to be true. Question what people say and stand in the face of anyone who tells you what to think. Find answers for yourself, but when presented with an overwhelming amount of evidence that you are wrong, you need to be willing to throw in the towel. I've done it. There are things that I used to believe that I no longer do. For instance, water consumption. I know this is kind of a little thing, but I used to really believe that you needed to drink 8 8-ounce glasses of water a day to truly be healthy. I've since learned that there's no actual scientific basis for that claim whatsoever. Was it weird for me to learn this new information? Yeah, it actually kind of was. I actually first heard it from Adam Ruins Everything, and then after hearing it, as you'd expect, I was skeptical. I could not believe it to be true. It was something I knew my whole entire life, and so I went out and I did a little bit more research beyond just watching the show. And as sure as the Earth is spherical, there's no evidence that anyone needs to drink any set amount of water. Now, is it easier to accept that you don't need to drink as much water as you had previously thought than it is to accept that human beings are accelerating climate change? Maybe, but I don't think it should be. I honestly think that the problem is the way that people are being told that they are wrong. If you ever find yourself talking to a flat earther, or an anti-vaxxer, or a climate change denier, do not just assert that they are wrong, but rather ask why it is that they think what they do. Ask them to show you the sources that they're pulling their information from, and then point out flaws in those things. Don't simply say something like, well, that's not true and you're an idiot for thinking it. All you'll do with statements like that is just push people further and further and further into their misguided mindset. Because the thing is, nobody thinks that they are dumb. I would argue that most people probably assume themselves to be fairly intelligent. So even if someone holds beliefs that aren't entirely based in facts, you should still treat the person as a smart human being. Be logical, be rational, and if that doesn't work, then plan a trip to Antarctica to show them that there is no glass dome covering the Earth. In conclusion, continue to be skeptical, continue to question things, but don't be afraid to accept some stuff as well. For instance, the Earth is not flat. It just isn't. Remember to hit the thumbs up and the share button if you liked this video, and drop a comment to let me know what you think. Do you believe that skepticism is the cause behind people believing non-factual things, or do you think I'm giving people too much credit? Also, let me know if you have something that you used to believe is true until you had your mind changed. What was it, and was it soul-crushing to let it go? I'd love to hear some stories from you. Lastly, let me know if there's anything you'd like to see me be frank about in the future, and with all of that being said, I've been Frank, you've been lovely, and I can't wait to talk to you again. Also, the Earth is a sphere.